Hello, this is Maggie Melisso, presenting my research poster for Dr. Villa's technical writing class. The date is May 8th, and this research poster is for the final exam of the class. Thank you. I was in a group, just to give a little introduction, with Samara Robbins, and for our technical document, we decided on writing a grant as neither of us had ever done that before, and we wanted to get experience with a different type of writing. After researching different organizations that needed grant writers from paid to volunteer, we decided to collaborate with the Sierra Nevada Alliance, who are planning on completing the North Face grant to get the funds they needed to do a land restoration and environmental education project within the Bishop, California community. As this was a service learning project, I decided to do my poster on the benefits of service learning, on the skill and career development of the student. I also mentioned a few benefits of service learning that benefits the grant or the organization that the student or students are working with. Because Samara and I co-wrote a grant for the Sierra Nevada Alliance, I emphasized this type of service learning when it came to the introduction, the benefits, and the conclusion, although I did discuss service learning as a whole, since it all intertwines. With all of that being said, let's get into the poster itself, shall we? Excuse me. As I'm also taking the professional document design class, I feel like I should just quickly go over a few of my design choices and just explain why I chose them. I tried to keep everything as neat and professional as I could. Those examples that you provided us in the final exam lecture were very helpful, Dr. Villa, so I thank you for that. I chose a picture of the Sierra Nevada mountains for the background to make it a little more interesting to look at, while also making sure the text was easy to read. Luckily, the mountains have snow on them for a good chunk of the year, so I was able to get a picture that was mostly white so that I could use bold black text. I also separated the sections into text boxes and turned down the opacity so that someone would be able to read the text and not have a bunch of boxes with a random color and also know which sections were which. I also put little black arrows to direct readers from section to section. Now I'll really get into the heart of the presentation and discuss what service learning itself is. According to Vanderbilt University's Assistant Director for the Center for Teaching, Joe Bandy, service learning, or as it's also known, community engagement, combines community service with student learning goals. In other words, service learning not only helps students develop personal and professional skills, but it also allows students to give back to the community and contribute to the betterment of the world. This is in the grand scheme of things, at least, as service learning projects could be something as simple as creating a brochure for a local business or helping a company improve their website. Service learning doesn't just help students earn academic credit. Their projects have the potential to contribute to real-world change. That's why I think it has the potential to be more impactful than traditional learning. Traditional learning being like sitting in a classroom. Obviously, you need to build a foundation for this type of learning in class, but once you have it, I personally believe you are doing a disservice by not putting it into practice in your life. Grant writing is only one of many types of service learning projects that students can do. There's also website building, how-to manuals, etc. But I'll try to narrow the focus to just that, as we did write a grant. Now I will be talking about my methodology, or in other words, my research methods that I use to collect my information and the service learning benefits. And just as a quick side note, as I've already used the term service learning a lot in this presentation, I may occasionally use community engagement. It's the same thing, but I just wanted to clarify to avoid confusion, if you're wondering why I'm using that. Anyway, back to my methodology. For this poster, I looked a lot at university and college websites to see what they had to say about this type of learning. The University of Minnesota, Vanderbilt University, and Riverside Community College had a lot to say about the benefits of community engagement and were used as sources on the poster. I also looked at an older study that Dr. Linda Sachs of the University of Nebraska did on undergraduate students that highlights some of the benefits. In addition, I took a look at some syllabi from different professors of various classes and various majors to see what they had to say about it. I chose classes that put an emphasis on service learning or community engagement in their curriculum. Although I didn't end up using any of these to source information from, I just found it interesting and helpful to see what endgame goals these professors had for their students. I was also curious to see what projects they were working on too, to be honest, just to see what other perspectives people had on service learning. A grant writing article from the Human Services Guide was also looked at and used to compare the benefits of grant writing with service learning, as well as very helpful tips and information on how to write grants. Now we will move on to the results of the project. In other words, what benefits did I find? Was it what I was expecting, etc.? While I used benefits that I found from my sources, I also used ones that I personally felt were some of the more important things that I gained or learned with my own technical document that Samara and I co-wrote. Now, as mentioned before, service learning helps students develop their skills and can be helpful for their future careers. One of the most important benefits, in my own opinion, is that students gain real-world, hands-on experience for their career later on. Instead of simply sitting in a classroom, reading from textbooks, and pairing off with other students, they are able to put all the things they learned to the test. They have an organization looking over their shoulder and making sure everything is done how they want it, since the project is supposed to be benefiting them anyway. So you're not just sort of going off what a textbook tells you, you're going off of what real professionals in whatever field you choose are telling you. The organization also gains additional human resources that they may not have had before to write their grant or, make up their website or write a brochure for them or whatever the case may be. Writing a grant for service learning also requires a lot of verbal and written communication, as I personally found out, which I knew before, but I didn't really realize the level of communication that was required. Students are also able to network with professionals, which gives them an advantage during their job search. It gives them the opportunity to actually get to know people within a field that they may be interested in, and reach out to them, and the professionals that they work with know what they're capable of and know that there's somebody hopefully that can be relied on. In the poster, I also included a graph to illustrate the relationship between reflection, service, and learning that highlights some additional benefits that you can check out. To close this presentation out, service learning or community engagement provides real-world skills that students need. And honestly, the fields of technical writing and professional and digital media writing needs employees like that. They need people that have an understanding of things outside of the classroom. These fields require a lot of understanding between groups of people that you can't really get from just sitting in class and learning from a teacher. Grant writing in particular is a great way for students to give back to a cause they support while networking with professionals. And it's just something that, students should really consider when they're looking for their careers and when they're trying to find internships and all of that. So that is my project. Thank you for listening, and I